Arman had always lived quietly in the shadows of others. He was the yes man, the agreeable guy, the one who smiled even when he wanted to cry, the one who followed every rule, even the ones that made no sense. Every day was the same. Wake up, go to his boring desk job, tolerate insults from his boss, pretend everything was fine, come home tired, sleep, repeat. He wasn't poor, but he wasn't moving forward either. He wasn't weak, but he never chose to fight back. He wasn't invisible, yet no one truly saw him. Arman had friends, but none who truly understood him. He had a dream, yet he was too scared to chase it. He wanted to start his own business, fitness, nutrition, something he believed in. But the fear of failing, of being judged, always chained him down. And society? It loves obedient people. People who don't challenge anything. People who follow the crowd. Arman was one of them. One night, exhausted from work and life, he walked into his room, sat on his bed, and stared at the ceiling. He whispered to himself, "Why am I living like this? Why am I scared of my own potential?" No answer came. The silence was heavy. Soon he fell asleep. And that night, something strange happened. He found himself in a vast savanna, golden grass, burning sun, endless horizon. The air smelled of dust and destiny. He was confused, but before he could understand, a thunderous roar shook the ground beneath him. A gigantic lion, muscular, dark-maned, royal, walked toward him. His amber eyes were sharp, like truth itself. Arman froze. He could feel his heartbeat punching his chest. The lion circled him slowly, examining him, judging him. Arman stepped back in fear, but the lion growled. "Sheep don't step back. Only sheep fear survival." Arman swallowed. "I'm not a sheep," he protested. The lion roared back. "And why do you live like one?" The question cut deeper than any wound ever could. I don't know," Arman whispered. The lion's voice softened, but remained powerful, like thunder under control. "You were born a human, but life taught you to be a follower. Look around." "What do you see?" Arman looked carefully. In the distance he saw thousands of sheep grazing together. Heads down, no direction, just existing. "They follow each other," the lion said. "Even if the leader is walking toward a cliff." One sheep lifted its head and stared blankly at Arman, eyes dull, lifeless. Suddenly it walked straight off a cliff, and without hesitation, another sheep followed. And another, and another. Arman panicked. "Stop!" "Why are they doing that?" The lion leaned close, because sheep fear thinking for themselves. And when leaders fall, followers fall with them. Then the lion pointed toward the other side of the plains. There, at the top of a rocky hill, stood a lion pride. Majestic, fearless, owning the skyline.
Arman took a shaky breath. "How do I change?" The lion roared so loudly the earth trembled. "You must choose. Continue hiding in their shadows, or step into your own light." Arman suddenly woke up, sweating, breathing hard, heart racing. The dream felt too real, too true. In that exact moment, he decided, "Enough. Today I stop following." The lion inside him had just awakened. Arman's transformation began the very next day. He arrived at work and his boss, a man who enjoyed domination, called him into the office. "You're late," the boss said sharply. Arman looked at the clock. He wasn't late. "Do better," the boss demanded. Normally Arman would nod and apologize, but today something different happened. Something powerful. Something unfamiliar. He did not bow. He calmly replied, "You can't keep disrespecting me for no reason." The boss froze. Shock flashed across his face. No one ever challenged him. Later that week, Arman proposed a new system that could improve the company's performance. The boss laughed at him. "We don't need your ideas. Just do your job and follow instructions." That sentence, "just follow," hit him like a slap. Arman stood up. "I'm done being a follower here. I quit." The whole office gasped. He walked out feeling both terrified and free, like chains breaking from his body. Arman started working on his dream, a health and fitness brand designed for ordinary people who wanted real transformation. No fancy machines, just discipline, mindset, and lion-like confidence. He started small. One online client, then 2, then 5. But success never comes without struggle. People laughed. "Who will listen to you? Fitness? You're not even famous. Just get another job." Doubts attacked him. What if they're right? What if I fail? What if I become a joke? But then he heard the lion's voice again. The sheep will always mock the lion. Until he roars. Arman faced rejection every day. Every no was a punch, every failure, a wound, but he kept moving. He watched motivational videos, read books about strong mindsets, worked out daily, prayed, meditated, fought his laziness. Every day was a battle against his weaker self. His body changed. His confidence grew. His voice became stronger. He began uploading fitness videos. And at first, nobody watched, not even his friends. One night, exhausted and frustrated, he screamed, "Why is life so unfair?" His inner lion answered, "Nothing is unfair. You are being forged." Every lion earns his roar. Arman wiped his tears and returned to work. Weeks passed. Months passed. One day, a message popped up on his phone from a young fan. "Bro, your story changed my life. I was depressed and lost. You helped me believe again." Arman read it again and again. That single message felt heavier than all the insults he had carried. He realized impact, approval, purpose, popularity, leading, following. As time flowed, Arman's online presence exploded. His videos went viral. People everywhere connected with his raw motivation. Real struggles and honest storytelling. No filters, no fake perfection. He once said in a video, "Don't chase followers, chase growth. When you rise, the world will follow you." That line got millions of views. Brands started contacting him. People asked him to speak at events. Fitness enthusiasts begged him for guidance. Arman, the man who once feared everything, now inspired thousands. But then came the real test. A major influencer invited him to collaborate, but only if Arman agreed to promote a fake supplement. Easy money, huge exposure, a shortcut to fame. The old Arman would have accepted, but the lion said, "A lion never sells his soul to be seen." He said no. People said he was stupid, but Arman smiled. He remembered, better to walk alone like a lion than live with fake wolves. His boldness made headlines. People admired his integrity. One night, as he sat on his balcony looking at the stars, the lion from his dream appeared again. Not in sleep this time, but in his mind, proud and glowing. You didn't become a lion by gaining power. You became one by rejecting weakness. Arman breathed deeply, his chest rising like a warrior preparing for dawn. Suddenly he thought of the sheep, the cliff, the lifeless eyes. He was never going back to that life. He stood tall and declared to the sky, "I lead my life, my roar, my rules." And somewhere deep within, his inner lion roared back, louder than ever. From that moment on, Arman became unstoppable. He built a massive fitness movement named Lions Among Men. His slogan, "I'll be a lion, not a follower." Millions of people adopted that mindset. No more pleasing others, living scared, waiting for permission, following the crowd. People started leading, not just existing. Arman's family, once doubtful, now watched him with pride. His friends, once critical, now asked for advice. His enemies, once mocking, now remained silent. Why? Because lions don't fear opinions. They lead with action. Arman stood on stage one evening, facing thousands of roaring fans. Lights flashed. Cameras rolled. Energy surged through the arena. He spoke with the confidence of a king. "I wasn't born brave. I wasn't born strong. I wasn't born a lion. I became one when I decided to stop following and start leading." The crowd erupted, a wave of applause like thunder. Standing there, he realized something powerful. Inside every man lives a lion, waiting to be awakened, waiting for the moment courage becomes louder than fear. Arman smiled and finished with his final lesson. If you don't lead your life, someone else will. The stage lights dimmed. The crowd kept cheering. The lion inside every heart and awakened. You have two choices every day. Follow the crowd. Or create your own path. Sheep follow. Lions lead. Be a lion, not a follower. Success may feel like victory, but the journey never stops testing those who lead. Months after Arman's brand exploded in popularity, trouble arrived. Some jealous influencers began spreading lies. His story is fake. He copied other creators. He is not qualified. Posts, videos, rumors. Suddenly all eyes were on Arman again. But this time, not with admiration, with doubt. Even some of his supporters turned away. Followers do that easily. They follow only when it is easy. Arman could feel the weight of the world trying to drag him back down. One night he sat alone in his dark studio, staring at hateful comments. A voice inside whispered, Maybe you should quit. Maybe you are not enough. Maybe the lion is just a dream. Tears rolled down his cheek. He whispered, broken. Why me? Why again? Why is pain always there? Suddenly, a strong gust of wind blew open his window, and papers flew everywhere. And in that moment, he remembered the lion's words. Lions are not tested by comfort. They are tested by storms. He wiped his tears and looked into the mirror. His reflection didn't look weak anymore. He saw strength, fire, a warrior. Armand clenched his fist. No more being scared. No more hiding. No more doubting. He knew one thing for sure. When your roar gets louder, the world tries to silence you. And that means you're on the right path. The next day, he went live and addressed everything. Not with fear, not with excuses, but with truth. He said, you can hate me, you can doubt me, but you will never break me, because I lead, and leaders are attacked the most. That live video broke all records. People felt his courage. His voice shook the weak minds awake. His real supporters returned. His movement grew even stronger, because people follow confidence. They admire strength. They respect the lion. Armand had survived the storm. He wasn't just famous now. He was respected. Armand's organization, Lions Among Men, became global. Gyms in multiple countries, training programs that saved thousands from depression, motivational events filled with roaring energy. But Armand wasn't done. He wanted to create leaders, not followers. He formed a community called The Pride, a group of men and women who refused to live like sheep. He trained them personally. Leadership mindset, fear-breaking exercises, self-discipline routines, public speaking mastery, fitness and confidence building. Some arrived weak, crying, broken, hopeless. But Armand looked at each and every one of them and said, I don't see your fears. I see the lion inside you, waiting to roar. On the final day of training, he took them to a high mountain cliff, the same symbolic place from his first dream. He stood before them, wind pushing his hair back, sun glowing behind him, like a real king of the wild. He asked loudly, who are you? Sheep or lions? They screamed. Armand stood on that cliff, with the pride in the world. Beneath his feet felt different. He wasn't looking down anymore. He was looking ahead. The wind wasn't pushing him back. It was carrying him forward. He knew his journey was just beginning, even after everything he had survived. Success did not mean stopping. Success meant having the strength to keep climbing higher. One evening, Armand sat alone in his office after everyone left. The building was quiet, lights dimmed, only the sound of his heartbeat filling the room. He was scrolling through messages from people around the world, each one telling him how his story gave them courage. Yet something inside him felt restless. He realized that becoming a lion was not just about his own life. It was about creating a future where more lions walked freely, without fear. As he stared out the window at the busy city, he thought about how many men and women were still stuck in the life he once lived, waking up with dread, going to jobs they hated, living for approval instead of purpose. Somewhere out there, another Armand was ready to quit. Someone was crying quietly because they couldn't find their courage. Someone was drowning in the noise of the world. It was a painful truth. Most people live like sheep not because they want to, but because no one ever reminds them of their roar. Armand decided he would be that reminder. He would go where the silence is loudest, where people have forgotten their own strength. He planned tours around small towns, rural villages, and cities where dreams were buried under pressure and poverty. He wasn't interested in fancy crowds. He wanted the hearts that had stopped believing. His first destination on this journey was a small town far from the bustling life he was used to. When he arrived, he saw broken buildings, tired faces, and children playing in dust with torn slippers. Life here seemed heavy. People lived with no expectations, only survival. But Armand smiled because he knew something powerful. Darkness can never defeat a single spark. He gathered the town's youth in a small school ground. They looked at him with curiosity, some with doubt, some with silent hope. He didn't stand on a stage and speak like a celebrity. He sat down among them eye to eye, human to human. He asked them what they wanted to become. A few answered quietly. A doctor, a pilot, a footballer, a writer, but most shrugged and said they didn't know. Not because they lacked dreams, but because they feared saying them out loud. Armand could feel their hesitation. He took a deep breath and told them his own story. Not the version the world celebrates, but the truth of fear, anxiety, rejection, nights crying into pillows, mornings waking up feeling worthless. He told them how he once believed he was just a follower destined to stay behind. Others forever. He spoke with honesty, and honesty touched their hearts like a spark touching dry grass. And then he said the sentence that changed. The children didn't fully understand at first, but the adults watching from behind did. They had spent their lives following rules written by people who never knew their struggles. They were afraid of making mistakes, afraid of being judged, afraid of failing, afraid to live. Amon stood and asked everyone to raise their heads, look up at the sky and shout with him. The first roar was weak, but he smiled. Lions are not born roaring. They learn. So he asked again, this time louder. And then once more. The third roar echoed across the town like thunder. The silence broke. Hearts awakened. Eyes burned with fire they forgot they had. After the event, an old man approached him. His hands shook as he held Amon's arm. Tears welled in his aged eyes. He said he spent his whole life working for others, never believing he could be more. He whispered, if only someone had told me this earlier. Amon hugged him gently and said, it's never too late to roar. Word spread from that little town to the next, and more people gathered everywhere he went. Newspapers wrote about him. Videos of his speeches started going viral. But what mattered most wasn't fame. It was the smiles returning to faces that had forgotten how. Every time someone found their courage, Amon felt the lion within him grow stronger. One night while traveling, he sat near a campfire. The stars looked like diamonds scattered across the sky. The warmth of the fire touched his skin, but it was the warmth of purpose burning in his chest that truly kept him alive. He whispered to himself that leadership was not about standing above others, but about lifting them up so they could lead as well. As he rested, a memory of his darkest days flashed before him. The fear, the doubts, the silence that once choked his dreams. But this time he smiled. The man who once begged life for mercy now demanded greatness from the world. He realized something profound. Lions are not courageous because they have no fear. Lions are courageous because they walk forward despite the fear. He remembered the dream lion, the cliff, the sheep falling without even thinking. The words still echoed in his soul. When leaders fall, followers fall with them. Amon now understood the deeper meaning. Those who choose to lead must lead with responsibility. They must guide with truth, not manipulation. They must inspire, not control. A lion who leads with ego is a tyrant, but a lion who leads with compassion becomes a legend. Amon promised himself that every roar he shared would come from honesty, love, and strength. He would never use his influence to drag others down or control them. His mission was clear. Awaken every lion still asleep in the world. Years passed, but his passion only grew. His movement reached millions of lives. Families healed. Youth found ambition. People who once wanted to end their lives now woke up excited for the future. All because one man dared to stop following and chose to roar.